Today I want to talk about the Pate and Creighton questlines and what we can find in COD content. Starting with Pate, internally he is straight up called Patches. The Patches resemblance is a bit more clear when you remove the helmet. And if you still had any doubt, the concept art pretty much confirms this is Dark Souls 2 Patches. So, in this concept art, Pate or Patches is wearing the Dark Souls 2 version of the hard leather set. And it's not coincidence that Patches and the hard leather set both have the same ID, which is 7440. This happens with many characters, Creighton included, which his ID is C7420. So, by the time we got the network test, his name changed for the first time, and in the English text files of the network test, he's called Pate, which sounds like how Creighton pronounced his name. I always thought it was his accent, but could be he was actually saying Pate?
Pate, the man with a strange ring. Watch out for the slimy rat. And don't you believe a word he says.
I don't know. Anyways, in the network test files, in the English network test files, he's called Pate, and we have dialogue from him. And the dialogue is much closer to Patch's usual way of talking. You can pause the video to read the dialogue here on screen, but you can see how this is basically Patches. But finally, at some point after this, the design changed. He adopted the original hard leather set, which previously was owned by Solaire, as shown in this early Dark Souls 2 screenshot, and he became the mild-mannered Pate we know today. Moving to Creighton, internally he is known with two names, the Wandering Warrior and the Avenging Warrior. I assume the two names are because his role changed during development, with the Wandering Warrior being the most recent, as that's closer to his actual name in the final game, which is Creighton the Wanderer. On the other hand, the Avenging Warrior name directly connects Creighton to another character, and that's Bernhart. Bernhart is also known with two names internally, the Moonlight Old Man and the father of the Avenging Warrior. Bernhart and Creighton's design already share many similarities, and this will explain why. What's more interesting for me is that Creighton has an unused variant wielding the Blue Moon Greatsword, or perhaps this was the actual Moonlight Greatsword at this point. After all, and I find this pretty hilarious, the game goes to great lengths to explain that the Blue Moon Greatsword is a fake. Not only we have Mullins telling you that, yeah, it's a fake, we also have Magelord in Ironkeep saying the same, like, yeah, that's not a legendary sword, that's a fake. So perhaps it was easier to build Bernhardt's story around the fact that they couldn't change his model in time, perhaps? But anyways, in the end, Bernhardt's connection to Creighton was completely removed from the game. Which, honestly, let me say, I don't like the lore for the Bernhardt set is just like, Bernhardt found it? Like in a trash bin or something? Like, I don't like that. Even though Creighton's role was changed to a Wandering Warrior, if you think about it, he is still looking for vengeance in the final game. Earlier I mentioned that Creighton's character ID is C7420 and Pate's is 7440. C7430 is Bernhart. So this implies these three characters were related. There was a connection based on this sequence of ideas. So what if his quest wasn't that different in a previous version of the game? What if his quest in the final game is based on his previous quest? What if Patches has an interaction with this father and son duo, and something happens to the father? Perhaps he fell for one of Patches' traps. This prompts the son to take his father's legendary sword and swears to take revenge. And in the end, we will have this climatic battle between them. Now, there is another piece of the puzzle, kinda. Earlier I mentioned Solden. What I didn't mention is his character ID, which is C7410. So this implies, again, these 4 characters are related somehow, but I feel there are more connections between Pate, Creighton, and Bernhart than Solden to this group. The only connection I can find is Solden previously used the original hard leather set, and that was given to Pate. But I think there is something else that is worth mentioning, and it's that there was plans for a holo version of Solden, which, funny enough, there is an item corpse of Solden wearing the hard leather set, the original hard leather set. And now that I think about it, Solden is like the only crestfallen character that doesn't die, I believe. So like, this is even more speculation since there is nothing else connecting Solden to this group. But what if Patches did a Dark Souls 3 I'm going to take your armor thing, right? And accidentally killed Solden? I don't know, but if this is the case, at least, there were supposed to be 2 models of Patches, one with Dark Souls 2's hard leather set, and another model with the original hard leather set. And we got this model, and based on this, we got mild-mannered Pate. Maybe, perhaps, like I said, this is speculation of the speculation. But nonetheless, it is fun to think about. At the very least, the things we know are not speculation is that Creighton and Bernhart were father and son, and Creighton at one point was going to take the Moonlight Greatsword or Blue Moon Greatsword. And honestly, I don't think it's that crazy to say that the Creighton and Pate questline is based on a previous version of the questline. But anyways, this is the end of the video. If you are still here, thank you so much for watching. This is a different type of video for me, but also my channel doesn't have many videos, so everything goes. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next video.